I can contact them and they will be willing to give you access, or I can just give you the contact information and you can talk to them to get access if you want to learn more. But it's really, really a fantastic example of how organizations are using wikis. I'm going to show you a different one. This time it's going to be Literacy Link South Central. And in this case, similar idea. They use it for content management or content sharing. Now it's still loading, so some of the images may not show or take a bit of time to show. But you will see as the system is loading, there will be images. So what they have done is rather than having a list of links, they use images to make it more visual. All those images are basically taking you to different sections of a wiki. Because you can do that. You can take text or image and link it to a different page or to a website outside, whatever you want. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in using that. And again, for them, information sharing. On the right side, they have optical image or illusion of the day. They have welcome information and all kinds of files. They even have information on different pilots they're doing. If you have access to this wiki, you can just quickly come in, access the pages, access the files and information. They did not have to go out and create a special website. They just put all the content on a wiki and they share it with others. Okay? Another quick example of a wiki. I'm going to give you our example, Alpha Plus example, and we have a few different accounts for Alpha Plus. But the very basic, what we started with was Alpha Plus Wiki, where we thought what we are going to do is talk about research, documents, and reports we wanted to share. And we started finding out that usually we had all this information on Commons Drive in the office. Many of us started traveling, going to different organizations, doing presentations, doing different kinds of work. And I would be sitting in my hotel room trying to get access to this file that I forgot to bring with me. I don't have the documentation. By having a wiki, I can put all the content on the wiki, even the files that I may need, and have access to them from anywhere at any point. That's how we sort of started. We found it so much easier. And the fact that you can share this page, you can share a link, that feature that I was showing you earlier where you can email somebody when you make changes, it just turns out to be so much easier for us to share the information. So, for example, you will see that on our front page, we have information about our business plan. So this way, when I talk to my manager, he tells me, oh, I just updated the document, go and check it out. I don't have to look in the Commons Drive. I can go here, access it from home if I'm working from home, have all the information handy. In our navigator, you will see there's a lot of stuff, and actually I'll show you. If I go to Pages and Files, there's a lot of information. All kinds of information, estimated leave plan, business plan, projects, proposals, whatever you can think of, we try to keep it here because then we have all access to it. There's pages and pages and files, and you can see through the folders, all kinds of folders. Some of us, we have specific folders of stuff, and then all common or shared folders that we are using. So it's a fantastic way as a sort of information depository for all of us. Yes?
And you said there was an option that would allow, like if you have a folder as a staff, that folder isn't necessarily accessible to everybody else that access.
No, in our case, because we have the free wiki, we didn't buy the premium wiki, we all have access to all the files. But actually it works very well when it comes to working with our management, because our manager can go into our folder and then go and see our status reports on what we are doing. He doesn't have to come and ask us, okay, where are you with this? He can go into the report that I'm usually updating and he can see all the information. So it really streamlines the process and it makes it easier for them. What we did, for example, with the business plan, we have deliverables that we have to deliver, and on a monthly basis, it gets reported to our board. So what we have a document with monthly updates. So rather than talking to our manager, if he doesn't have time, we of course have other meetings, but if he doesn't have time, we'll just go in and give him an update. This is what's going on. And he can go into the board and present, and he gets the latest updates from us without having to have a meeting with 10 staff members. He gets all that information very handy. Okay? Now, I mentioned to you that Alpha Plus is also using something called to develop newsletters. So I mentioned that to you. Here's our wiki where you use the newsletter. And basically what I do is I have editorial for each month. I create a page for each month and have the content in it. So I'll show you my September. Again, as I'm linking, I'm going through pages in the wiki. I just put all kinds of content I may think of, and you can see just different color coding to help me. I have my style sheet. I have ideas of what I want to do. this summary that I'm going through, it's all my news articles that are going on my website. And in my case, what I'm doing is I have the title. Let me just go back here. I have the topic. The date submitted by is the file that I embedded here that I'm sending to my editor. So she comes in here and she can see that there's a file to be edited. She makes the changes, brings the file back here. Now, there's two ways to work in a wiki. In this case, I'm showing you that I created a Word document, and she created a Word document, and she embedded it here. She put a link to that file here. I could have gone and created just a page. I didn't even have to embed the file. I could have gone and just created a page directly in the wiki. So there's two ways. One, to create a page with all the content that she can review and make changes. Two, to create Word documents or Excel spreadsheets that I put in a link to in the wiki, and she goes out, opens the file, makes the changes, and saves it back with the changes. The difference for us was that the editor preferred to work with the Word files. She wasn't as comfortable with the actual wiki, so we just did the Word files. It works still very easily and very quickly. She creates the Word file with the tracking of changes and puts the link for me here. No exchange of emails back and forth. I'm not missing any information. I'm not skipping my emails if I have a full box. This way, I go in here. If she made the changes in my edited file content, I'm going to have the link to the document. I can open it and work with it. Makes it very, very simple. Okay? And again, when I finish, when I put in some content for her, I'll just go in, click share this page, put in her name, and it's going to come up. And basically, I can add a message for her, whatever I want to do, hit send, and it goes to her as an email. Yep.
So how do you upload the Word file?
I will show you next.
Oh.
Yep. So that's just quick examples of how different users use wikis. It could be for anything. It could be for you to create an activity and have students come in and work with it. It could be all kinds of different purposes. But really what it comes to is the fact that it makes the work easier and much simplified. If you're working with different locations, different organizations, coming to one location to work on a document is just so much easier than sending that document back and forth to each other. So I'm going to go back to the wiki I was showing you, and then we are going to Alpha Plus Wikis. That's the one for today. I was trying to create something so that I have access to it. So we went through all the content, and you will see on the content page, we have all kinds of examples. Some of the ones I showed you that are private, you will not have access to those, but I just wanted to give you a list. So if there is anything that you saw that you may want to ask for, just let me know. And there's a whole list of public wikis. Those are public, open, anyone can take a look at them. And that's just examples of what you could be using. Now I'm showing you PBWorks. That's one of the companies that provides this free software. But there are a few other ones that they can offer you the content, and there's a link to that as well. Just different companies. So PBWorks is the one that we know, are comfortable with. Wikispaces, I think it's the one that Wikipedia is using to create Wikipedia content. WetPaint, it's a bit more modern, very, very nice layout. It also allows you to have forums in it. So it just gives you different features, and you can click and explore many of them as well. I also, I'm giving you links to different resources. A quick video of how wikis work. There's a full user manual if you need to update yourself or sort of explore more how wikis work. A very good example of how wikis are being used in the classrooms. Colleges, universities, high schools, many different examples of how they are using wikis. Another one showing you how WetPaint, which is another company that provides wikis, how that works for you. Alpha Plus has, in September, we had a full feature on wikis. So there's just a link to our featured technology section where we do a full overview of wikis, how they work, and some of the resources there. There's also a link to Wikis at Literacy Link South Central. That's an organization that's using wikis, and they had a spotlight on our website talking about how they are using wikis, giving examples, even screen captures. There is a handout that I'm giving you in print form. All of you have it on your table. It's also on the flashcard that was given out during the sessions or with the bag that you received, but it's also here. So you can see how I have access and can give you this content without really, I didn't have to even give you the printout. I could have just told you go and print it out on your own, but that gives you different information. Yes?
Hi. 2 years ago I had set up, I'm with the network, and I had 8 different LSP communities.
Yes.
And I had set up each one of my communities on wikis.
Yep.
And for the school board organizations and the college
Yep.
sector organizations, the wikis were a problem because of the firewalls.
Mhm.
They weren't able to, they had difficulties accessing the wikis. Is that an issue still today, or are there ways around that now?
As far as I know, it basically depends on the organization. Many organizations we spoke with, as soon as they went to the webmaster or the person that was taking care of the lab, and they talked and showed what the wiki was about, they would come in and help out and then make sure that the firewall doesn't block that site from being accessed. So it just depends on the computer lab that you have, and then how flexible they are with opening or accessing different sites. So for example, with YouTube, it's the same idea. Some of the sites will be blocked. YouTube often may be blocked, but very often talking to them in terms of wikis, it's much easier to persuade them to actually give you access to that. Okay.
And could you be a resource to different groups to help do that?
Sure, I can. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so you have all this information. There is also a handout, steps to set up a PBWorks account. That's something we are not doing today. As I said, there's a few steps you have to go through. The system asks for your email, sends you a confirmation email, so that will have taken us too long, and we don't have time for it. But there's step-by-step instructions. It's just basically screen captures that allow you to go through it, and then you can use that information. Activities section. If you go down, that's the one I quickly want to show you because it's going to show you how editing works. Okay? Now, if you click on that, it will take you to the same page, and that's the page where you have username and password too. So if you are navigating through that page from Alpha Plus Wikis, if you go to Activities, it will take you to the page with the username and password you have on the sheet. Now, I'm looking at the front page. Again, it's a page. I'm in a view mode. If I wanted to edit, I can click Edit and edit this specific page. But before I do that, what I have done is I created a table, and in the table, I created links to different pages. Okay? I'm going to click on the practice page example. Again, opens a new page in a view mode with different steps of doing different things. What I want to do is I want to go through this example, show you what I'm going to do, and then you can follow the same steps and do the same thing. Okay? So, the first thing, click on Edit and review the tools in the text editor toolbar. So I'm going to click on Edit, right there, and you will see I'm still seeing the instructions. They didn't get lost, but now on top I have the entire toolbar. That's how you would edit this page. Fairly easy. There's bolding, underline, italics, strike through, and other tools, bullets, numbers, pasting information, ability to insert a table, ability to insert other things, such as video or calendar if you want, color change, fill change, formatting the font for you, all kinds of different tools you could be using in editor. How many of you have used something similar before? For example, if you're working with websites or different kinds of content where you actually had editor online. Not all of you? It's not that difficult, it just takes a bit of practice. So that's why I want to do this today with you. So when I'm in the edit mode, I can do all kinds of different things. And in step number 2, it says go to the X, which is just at the bottom of this page, under the line. So the X is here. And the reason I'm doing this is just so that we don't delete the instructions. So I just want to add some content there. And basically, I'm just going to say something. And that's what the instructions are asking you. Hi, this is Monica. And you can see the system actually is bolding it. Main idea here is you can go in and add your own content, play with it. You can bold, italic, you can change color, you can do whatever you want. So that's step number 2. Step number 3, save. Every time you make changes, you continue saving. And if I save what I just did, I hit save, it's going to take me back to my view mode. If I scroll down, my text is already saved. That's how simple it is to just edit the page. Okay, I want to continue. Step 4, go back to the edit mode. And in the step 4, it tells me click edit again and add a link. How many of you sometimes have to add a link to a website in a document? Very often in a Word document or files, when you put the address and you hit enter, it becomes automatically a link. This system will do the same thing. But sometimes you may want to put a text and say, well, this is Alpha Plus, and then make Alpha Plus a link rather than the actual full address. So the editor has a tool for that. So I'm going to go back at the bottom. I'm just going to go in here, say Alpha Plus, for example. I'm going to highlight this text And in the editor on the top, there's something called add link. The item right here, it has this tiny icon called link. I put it in,